Mem Chesamid Beis, 9 lines from the bottom. Today is the last Pedic, the last daf. The Pedic is one daf, the last Pedic. But we're going to start from Mem Chesamid Beis, 9 lines from the bottom. Amar Rab Yosef. Amar Rab Yosef, Amar Yumi, Amar Rab Nachman. This that we said that he could swear on a Shema, right? He could say, I don't feel good about it, about my shutiv. Even though he doesn't have a real taina, Vaida taina, but he says just because the shutrim, he could be Meida Heta. So therefore, yesterday we learned when a shutiv or the abruda habit fadir, so it's that brother here who's working could be Meida Heta sometimes. So therefore, even on a maybe, he said, yeah, he says, look, I've really gone. He thinks he's really gone out of his way for you, and he deserves a little bit more money. So, and the brother feels, there's something hanky-panky over here. He's not sure. On Hashem, we can make him swear. When it comes to such a thing, where chesed, it could be made a heta, like a shutiv, a worker, he thinks he overworked. He's a partner and a shutiv. So it's a tough situation. There we allow it. So it says, Rav Yosef, Rav Nachman, V'hu sheyesh taina b'nayu, shtei kesef. This is the only if the taina was minimum 2 kesef. And he's made on 1 month, but it has to be a minimum of 2 kesef, and made to part of it. In fact, you got to come on. Who's this going according to? Kishmul. It could only be going according to Shmuel, because Shmuel is the one that says, when it comes to kvida, you can be kefa even in a pruta. The amount has to be 2 kesef, and you can even deduct. And if he's made a pruta, so even though the leftover is less than 2 kesef, that's good enough. Sounds like it follows Shmuel. How could it? Rabchia learned to Braisa l'siyud Rav, like that a raya to Rav, that the halacha is like Rav. That what? That the kvida itself has to be a kvida of 2 kesef,
not less,
and not less. And so if he's being made in a pruta, it's going to be less than 2 kesef. So we have to say the taina was 2 kesef and a pruta. How can we say the whole taina was only 2 kesef? And when it says 2 kesef, Ema learned the pshat. Kvidas hataina, that when he said the 2 kesef, he meant the kvida itself has to be 2 kesef, kirav, like and it follows the shit of Rav. Okay, so we learned in the Mishnah cholko hashutafim v'harisim. We said as long as the shutfim are shutfim, as long as the artist is still working, then the owner could say, "Listen, I have a bad feeling," and he could swear on a shvui suffix. Once they dissolve the partnership, or the artist is no more artist, they divided everything, he can no more swear. He can no more make him swear on a suffix. Could you be megalgal on a shvua d'Rabbanan? Meaning, after the artist divided with the balabayas, the balabayas can no more taina. So only if there's another shvua, right? What's the din if the artist was another shvua d'Rabbanan? Could he be megalgal from that shvua d'Rabbanan? On this case of the shutrim that they dissolved it, what? Yeah. Could a shvur d'Rabbanan be nisgalgal on another shvur d'Rabbanan? Says, you want to touch on? Come in here and I'll answer you. Lava hayimeno. Erev shvius, ulamatzay shvius, nasle shut vayoris. Ein megalgal. If somebody borrowed money, erev shvius, right? And now matzay shvius, he forms a partnership with somebody, and now he has to swear.
What happened? He broke off?
No, he didn't break up. He lent him money, Erev Shviyas. Matzei Shviyas, the guy who lent money, he became a partner with him. Okay, and now he wants to make him swear because he says, I don't feel good with you. I think there's something fishy. Ain't megalgun. So we cannot make him swear from that shvur d'Rabbanan for the kvida of the late, when the later says, I didn't borrow anything. Why? Time, the whole reason is the love ayman out of shvius. The whole reason is that he cannot be megalgal shvua because when did he lend him the money? At a shvius. The asya shvius afkate. Shvius comes, and it's not just mafkiyah the loan. It's mafkiyah the whole shvua. There's no shvua. But he could be medayik. If it was any other year other than Erev Shvius, it was a regular year. He lent the money. And the guy denies everything. So he's a kaifahako. So the whole shvur is a shvur d'Rabbanan. So we said Megalgalin,
If he has a shul that Isa coming up.
if he has a Shvua D'Rabbanan of the Shutvis, we can be Megalgal on this
That about.
Shvua of the Halva. It wasn't a Meidum Miktsas. He says it was Halva.
Of the years, you could be Megalgal.
But he could be Megalgal from the Shutvis, which is only a Shvua
Of the
D'Rabbanan,
Halva.
on the Halva. Okay.
And the Hava is what?
The Hava, he was a Keif Hakel. He can make him swear, regardless. And we're talking about a time
What was before that he lied? Well, there was just two
he lied like this.
transactions here?
There was two transactions. There was a Malvin Aleva. He lent him, not in the year of Shvius, he lent him $1,000. And he comes to collect. No, now we're talking about a regular year. He says, "Lady, pay me back." The lady says, "What? I don't owe you a thing."
Okay.
It's a kid for
So
half.
Keif Hakel. Keif Hakel didn't have to swear.
Okay.
Okay, now these two guys formed a partnership. Later, they formed a partnership, and he.
Friendly again.
Now he's telling him, you know, the friendship is a little shaky over there.
Under the table, right?
So he's telling him, listen, it seems like you're doing some hanky-panky with me. I can't prove it, but I want you to swear you're not doing hanky-panky. He can make him swear. Once he can make him swear about the hanky-panky of the business, he can now make him swear on the Keif Hakel that he was Keif Hakel on the Laval.
Okay.
Says, you better late time, don't say that's the diuk. That you're just being medayik because from the Bryson mentioned which case? He lent money Erev Shviyas.
That's a shame.
So then we say we're not going to go to the shua. So you're medayik. If the halva didn't happen Erev Shviyas, happened a regular year, then you are. Say who says that's the deal? Oh, Shashnei Shavua Megalgalin. Don't say that the other years we will be Megalgal. Allah Ema. Say that if it happened the reverse. Nah, so we should have others be Erev Shviyas. The first story was that we're Shutvim Erev Shviyas. And they dissolved the Shutvis. So now once you dissolve it, he can't make him swear anymore. Ulamatzoy Shviyas, Love Ayamani, he borrowed money from him. So we say, so since he was a Meidum Miktsas and he has to swear, so we could be Megalgal the Shvua for the Shutvis that was dissolved, that he didn't feel good. Say you didn't steal while we had a Shutvis. He can make him swear for that. Megalgal. Says, that's what you want to be Medayik? That you reverse the stories? Says, the reversing of the stories, that's befedish in the safe of the Mishnah. Habehedya Ketanilov, we befedish learned it in the safe of the Braisa. Nasaloi Shutif Oris Shviyas. The safe of the Braisa is, if they were a Shutif, and he was an Oris Shviyas, and they dissolved the Shutvis, or the Harisis, Ulamatzoy Shviyas, Love Ayemeno. It's Babish this case that we said is the dig. So, of course, it says Megalgalin. So I don't need to be Medayik from the Reish of that. It says Mefedish in the Sefer. Obviously, the diuk was, like we originally said, that the halva happened a different year. And he was a Keif Hakel, and we couldn't make him swear on the halva. And then they made a shutvis, and then the guy was cheshedim. And the Rabbanim said, he has to swear. Oh, now that you're swearing, also swear about that halva that you said you never borrowed.
Have in mind.
So have me in mind, that you make a sure that you didn't borrow at all. Shmami knows that you could be megalgal from the shur Rabbanan onto another shur Rabbanan. Ravuna said, "La'akel megalgalin." On every case, you could take from one shur and be megalgal on a place where you couldn't make a shur. You can be megalgal anytime. He says, "Chutz misacha." One exception. Except when a worker swears for the balabayas. Officially, a worker shouldn't have to swear. We ended off the Gemara, the balabayas taka doesn't know what's going on. And the Sach, when he says he wasn't paid, we have to believe him. But we said he has to swear. Why? Just to calm down the balabayas. So that's not a shvur that we can use once we make him swear. Oh, you're swearing about a Sach, let me make you swear already on another thing. That ain't megalgal.
But the worker swear.
Yeah, Shay Megalgan. Then we're not Megalgan for another case. Rav Chizda Amar Lakel ain't Mekil, and some is the same thing. He says Lechol Badin. That's Neschai Bashur Rabbanon. We're not Mekalin not to be Megalgan. He has to. We can force him to be Megalgan. El Chutz Misacher, except by a Sacher the Mekilin. There were a Mekol that we did not Megalgan the Hishua on others. All other cases will be lenient. We'll take. We'll make. Will allow once he's swearing in this case to be megalgal in another case where he couldn't swear.
Not by itself.
But not by a such. By a such, we're not going to be mekel.
Why?
So
Why can't you make them megalgal?
by a such, we just said, because a such is really not chayv the shvua. It's only to calm down the balabayas.
Oh, okay.
Says the Gemara, my badai. What's the chiluk between the two gearses? If you say la koil megalgalin, or you say the lashon la koil ein mekilin, what's the difference? Says the Gemara, liftoyachlai. If Bezdin is matzir to the baldin to be megalgal, if Bezdin on their own initiative tells the guy didn't even chapsich that he can do gilgal shvua, Bezdin says, you know, you have a psar cheshbon that you can be megalgal on another shvua.
So Bezdin brings up.
Bezdin has to help him out. That's what it means, like koil megalgalin. So, and where would be the chilik?
Why does the business do that?
Because Bezdin offers, when there's a gilgal shvua, that
There's
he
a shua,
should
so
say you could take care
You
of.
have any other shuas you want
Yeah,
to make?
yeah.
They are-
Look, the story with the person who came out of Yom Kippur, he tells the Rav, she can have Aveis. Mama, she has 0 Aveis, she doesn't know what to do. The Rav asked him, hast du a cheshbon thing? He said, do you have a cheshbon with somebody? He says, yeah, I have a cheshbon. He comes, he said, gleich, for Yom Kippur, do your cheshbon. He runs to a guy, and he says, du nibzik, and he starts punching him, beats him up. Oh, he comes out, boy, Hashem, he has a Aveira, they can say Vidit for it. On his way out, the wife opens up the window and says, Rabbi, der weiß nicht, was für eine Mitzvah haben getan. Anyway, okay, anyway, the kids are a cheshbon. Anyway, the cheshbon's over here, that, Bezdin gives them, lets him, they awaken him. If you could use the shvua, you'll use it for something else. But not by a sacher. By a sacher, they won't offer their services. But if he demands on his own that he wants to be megalgal the shvua, he could. That's according to like.
Oh, the Sacha wants to swear?
If the sacher wants to make this guy swear on another, once he's making, the work is, right? Once the sacher has to swear, right?
Yes, sir.
Once the balabayas has the sacher swearing, so he can make him swear for another incident where he couldn't swear, to make the sacher swear.
The balabos can make
Only
it
if the
work.
only the balabas. Bezdin is not matzia. By all the other
You just
places.
said that we don't do that.
Oh, so this is going to be the chilik in the girsa. But according to the one that says la koil ein mekilin, la koil ein mekilin means only if Bezdin doesn't offer any services by any shvur, that to tell them you have a cheshbon for another place, they won't offer it. But when it comes to sacher, even if he, on his own initiative, he wants to force, the balabais wants to force him to swear in another case, he can't. That's the chilik between the two girsayis. Okay, Vashviyis mishametas. It says the shviyis is mishamet, not only the loan, the shvua. Where do you get this from? I'm thinking about it. I'm Avgil Amarav, and Avgil said in the Amarav, the Amakra, it says in the pasuk, v'zed divar, the words divar hashmita to teach us, va'afilu dibur, the chayv of dibur, the chayv of a shvua, which is the dibur, mishametas, shviyis mishamet. Hadam Allah call and Nishmayim. We shall return to you. We're going to start now a new Perek and the last half of the Masechta. Okay. Yeah. This is now mamish simple. We'll probably finish in 10-15 minutes if you're in a rush to go to the L'chaim. Okay. Here we go.
I don't think you do it in 10, 15 minutes.
No, it's
We'll
not.
see what
Hard.
happens.
We'll soon. There are 4 categories of shomrim. There's a shomer chinam, a shoyel, a noisa sacher is a shomer sacher, a shomer that's paid to do the shmira, and the maasecha, somebody who rents. Okay, a seicha is zugeglichen. It's a machlek. It's either to a shomer chinam or to a shomer sacher. Okay, so here this Mishnah, it seems like he's comparing a seicha to Hashem Esacha, and you'll soon see. Shem Chinam Nishba, Shem Chinam swears, but he says that he wasn't negligent in the Pikadin. He never used it before it got stolen or lost. He says it's not in his Ishus. That's the Shvua that a Shema makes. A Shema Chinam. Al HaKoil, on any type of loss, like Geneva, Ba'aveda, and Eines, he's potter. Hashoyel is the other extreme. Anything that will happen If it's stolen, he's chayiv. If it's lost, it's chayiv. If it's einus, it's chayiv. Yeah, sure. If the gammon is chayiv. One exception. He doesn't bring it here. I'm surprised. Mesa machmas malacha. And Rashi says why. It's an exception because he took it. It should work. He didn't put it put it as a display, as a statue. He wanted it to. If it's mesa machmas malacha, he's talking. That's the only exception. No, he says sacha b'haseicha. You see, he put it together. Nishbayin. They swear al ashvura. Al ashvura means that it was torn up by a chaya. Al ashvuya, if it was captured either by the tax collectors or whatever, al hamesa, if they died a natural death. So these are sugim of einus, which Hashem Yisach is not going to pay. But but if it gets lost or stolen, then they'll have to pay. By Hashem Yisach, you have to watch it. And the same thing is a seicha. Right. He's getting paid to watch it. What kind of a watchman are you? Now, says the Gemara, if the Balabai said to the Shemechinam, hey, Shari, where's my ox? Amalai, he says, Mace, it died. But the emes is he was lying. It was killed, or nishba, or was captured by let's say tax collectors, or niknaf, or was stolen, or avad, or was lost. So he would still be potter.
So why you had to lie? Why you had to say that?
And he says the same thing. Every lie that he said it was stupidity, because he would have been potter anyway. He says, yeah, I don't know. He says, or he says nishba, the animal killed it, right? That wasn't the truth. Who Shemesa died naturally. Or nishba was captured. Or nigna was stolen. Or oven was lost. Or he says nishba. He says it was captured. But who and the emes is Shemeis or nishba or nigna or yabat. Either it died naturally or was killed, stolen or lost. Or nigna. He says it was stolen. He's lying again. But who Shemeis or nishba yabat. Or he says avad. He says it was lost, but it was a lie. And then he tells him, Mashbi, Achani, I'm making you swear whatever you're saying now is the truth. Amen. He says it's the truth. Potter, he's going to be potter from Chaimish and Asham for lying in the Shvus HaPikadon. He's potter, right? Why? Because the Shvus HaPikadon is you're only going to be Chai Chaimish Asham if he did it in such a way that it would have potted him, that he was going to be chayiv in mamein, if he would have said the truth. Now that he lied, he potted himself in mamein. But he didn't pot himself. He was going to be chayiv anyway. Whatever he said, it was worthless, and it wasn't something. The truth wasn't going to be mechayiv in mamein. So he didn't do the shua to pot himself in mamein. And therefore he's potted. But what's if the Balabai says to Shemechina, hey, where's my shayr? I'm like, he said, I don't know what you're talking about. And the emes says it died, or it's killed, or nishma was captured, or it was stolen, or it was lost. He says, I'm making you swear whatever you're saying is true. You're saying I have nothing to do with the shayr. I don't know what you're talking about. He's potter because he would have been potter anyway. The Shvus HaPikadon wouldn't have accomplished anything. What's a third case in Shem Yechinam? Hey, he says, where's my shayr? It was lost. And he says, swear to me that it was lost. And he says, yes. They say, hey, you yourself ate it. You said it was lost. Yeah, then he has to pay keren. Because he used the pikadon. He ate it. But he doesn't pay kefil. Because kefil is only if he tied it that it was Yigambit and he himself stole it, then he has to pay kefil. And if he shachted and slaughtered and shachted and sold it, you pay 4 or 5 times, depending on share. What's if he was made himself in front of Eidim that he ate it? Then he has to pay also the Keren V'Chemesh and the Asham. Before, when he wasn't made, when the Eidim, he still doesn't pay Keren V'Chemesh because the Keren, I'm sorry, Chemesh V'Asham. The Keren he pays. Chemesh V'Asham is a kapara only if somebody is made. He shows he's doing tshuva. But if he doesn't show he's doing tshuva, then he doesn't bring a Chemesh V'Asham. So in the first case, he's denying till the end on the Yishmarim. He swear on the lie, so he doesn't show any remorse. So then he can get the kapara of Chemes Rasham. But once he was made and he showed remorse, then he has to pay Chemes Rasham. So now the last case of Shemichin Heichen Sheri, he says, "Where's my shirt?" He says, "Nikra, it was stolen." He says, "I'm making you swear that it was stolen. What you're saying it was stolen is true." Then Adam come and say, "Hey, we know you stole it." Then he has to pay double, because for Geneva, and not only if he stole it himself, Shemichin is pata if it was stolen from him. But as is the Alein the Ganav. So, and he denied it, he swore falsely, he pays kafel. But if he was made on kafel, no, he's part of Chemes Rasham because he denied it. But what's if he was made on his own? Then he has to pay the Karen. Then he doesn't pay kafel, but he pays the Chemes Rasham for kapara. Yeah.
When does he pay cable? Only if there's Aedis that he lied.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Exactly. But now we're going to
Cable is a knas.
What?
Cable is a knas.
Kafel is a knas, sure. But that's why he doesn't pay the kafel, but he pays Kel Mechemish. He showed remorse, so he pays. He's doing tshuva. He says, if a person says the guy in the shuk, Heichen Shari is tam, not a shoyman. Comes to a guy in the market, he says, "Where's my shirt that you stole? I saw you stealing it." Well, I'm looking after it, I never stole it. Adam he says, "Shagan Abe." And Adam come and say, "You did steal, we saw you do it." He has to pay kafel because he swore falsely that he didn't steal it. What's if he noch geschachten or sold it? He has to pay $1, depending if it's a shirt or a set. Okay. What's if the Ganav sees, "Oh, the Edom are coming now, I better be made up." So, right, when he sees the Edom are coming, he runs into the Bezdin, "Oh my Ganafti, I did still." He doesn't want to have to pay kafel. But I didn't shecht it or sell it. And we know he did. He shechted it or sold it. He doesn't have to pay Dalad Hay. Why? Because the Dalad Hay is based on the kafel. Part of the Dalad Hay is the kafel. But since he was made that he stole it, so he's not paying kafel, so then you can't be, there's no Dalad Hay, it's only Gimel the Dalit. That the Torah does not mechayiv. The Torah is only mechayiv Dalad Hay. That's only if he's going to be chayiv kafel, and there was a tvicha or mechira, then he pays 4 or 5 times as much. But if there's no kafel, then there's no Dalad Hay. It's like the Ibadat Mace. If the I'm sorry, Amar Lashoyel. We're going to a new case for this shoyel. He says to the shoyel, the Malawaz, "Where's my ox?" It died, and he's lying. Or he says Nishba, if the Achaya killed it. And the real truth is Shemes died naturally. Or he says Nishba, it was captured. And he was lying. Really, Shemes died naturally. Or he says Nignaf, it was stolen, and he was lying. Ovad, he says it was lost. That wasn't the truth. Really, he died naturally. And if the shoyel tainat, one of these tainats, the Balabai says to the shoyel, "Mashbiachani, I'm making you swear whatever you're saying is true." And he says yes. He's potter from Chemes Rasham Shal Shavous Abikadin. Because whatever he said, he would be chayiv for anyway. The shvur was never going to help him be potter.
What does it mean he's potter? Potter from what?
Potter from the Chemes and Asham. Because the shvur, the only time you're chayiv for the Shavous Abikadin, if it's a shvur that would have saved him money. He had never saved him any money. He would have been chayiv with any of these tainas anyway. On everything, on all these things, correct? If the Balabai says to the Shayl, "Where's my Shayl?" I'm alone. The Shayl says, "Any idea, Martha? I don't know what you're talking about." But who, and the truth is, Shemeis, it died. And he says, "Mashbiach, Ani." I'm making you swear that what you said is that lahadam, that you never borrowed the Shayl. And he says, "Amen." Then chayiv, he's chayiv, because with this saying that I never borrowed it, he wanted to pot himself a mumming. So that's kvidis mumming. So that a kefakal, he says it never happened.
What did he say in the previous case?
No, the case he says it was either he says it was mace or nishba, nignav, yavad. All those cases chayiv for. He didn't try to pot himself. But here, by saying any yedei amat or sach, he's trying to pot himself. For that, he's going to be chayiv. So he said to Hashem, "He was my shayr." He says, "Mace, it died." And he was lying. Nishba was ripped up by a chayah. Nishba was captured. Says Nishba. He says it was torn up by a chayah. But who shemes? And the truth is, it died naturally at Nishba. Or he says Nishba, who shemes at Nishbar. Or he says Nignav, and he was lying, but who shavad, it really got lost. So, Avad, or he says the shay got lost, who Nignav, it really got stolen. And he says Mashmiyach Hani, I'm making you swear. Whatever tiny you're saying is the MS. He says Amen Potter, he's Potter. Because he's not pottering himself. All these cases he would have been chayiv for. I'm sorry, he would have been Potter for. All these cases, whether it's mace or nishba, these are eines. And then it's sach and seicha Potter. So he didn't do the shvur zu fashpornepes. It's nothing. He was going to be Potter anyway with whatever he said. What's if the Shem or the Seicha says the Shem mace or nishba? If the Shem says that it died naturally or nishba, but who? And the truth was shenignav ayavad, it was really stolen. And he says mashbiyach ani v'ama amen. And he says I'm making you swear that you say it died, it was aynes, and the truth is it wasn't. It was geneva ba'aveda. So then chayiv is chayiv because he tried to pot himself in pain because he wanted to say it was aynes. And really, the truth was it was stolen. And for Gnei Ba'aveda, Hashem Yisrael and Seich is chayiv. Yeah. If the Shem or the Seich says the Shem was Avad, I Nignav, V'hu Shemei Sei Nishba, now he said the Fakir. He said he wanted to make himself chayiv. And the truth is he was supposed to be Pater. He was Ainus. And then he says, Mashbiach Hani, I'm making you swear that what you're saying, that it was stolen, or was lost, is the emes Ramam, and he says, Amen Potter. He doesn't have to pay Chaim Shvashim because he was really Potter, and he lied, saying that a case that is Chayiv. He said it was Geneva. Why would a guy do that? I don't know, but yeah, okay. Zeh haklal. Kol amishan mechayiv lechayva ubitul lechayva Potter. One was Meshana, his taina, from one chiyuv to another chiyuv, so it doesn't do anything. It's his shvur didn't fashbor anything, or from ptur to ptur, or he was really potter and he made himself chayiv. In those cases, he's not going to be chayiv Rosh. But mechayiv leptur, from something that he's chayiv and he tried to make himself potter chayiv, then he's going to be chayiv. Whoever makes a shvur to be lenient on himself. Chayiv, he's chayiv. If it's lahachmal atzmai, but if he was making it harder for himself, like he says it was gedeva aveda, and it was really a oines, then he's going to be potter. So like man tana abba shemin. Who's the one that says it's for shemin? It's Abmeir. The Leslie abba shemin. What are you joking? Everybody knows of the four categories. So what's your shaila? This was my shaila. Man tana the tana. I didn't mean to stop, but I didn't mean to ask on the words abba shemimei. I meant to ask on the words that come after abba shemimei. On this that it says seicha k'neisa sachadami. Who's the one that says that? Amar Abnachman says Gemara. Abnachman said Amar Abavu. Rabbeir, it's Rabbeir. Like, how can you say it's Rabbeir? Rabbeir, Yibchash Rabbeinu Lei. Rabbeir says Parket. L'tanan Seicha Keitzad Mishalem. Rabbeir Keshem Chinam. Not like Hashem Sacha. So how could you say Rabbeir is the one that says a Seicha is Keshem Sacha, and it says Rabbi Yehuda Im K'neisa Sacha. Gemara Abavu Yibchatani. Rabbi Abu says you have to reverse it. Rabbi Meir is the one that says that.
Why did they say that he's potter? Why did they say that he's potter? Because he was chayiv. He was chayiv. He was chayiv. If the Shem Sachar or the Seicha says that,
Rameya says soiches kenesa sacha.
Oh,
It's shemechinam.
Why? Because he paid money to the.
Oh, soich is a renter. He's not a shemer,
So
so
he paid money to rent, right?
he's renting. So he's a shemechinam. He's paying. He's even better than a shemechinam. Shemechinam is doing it for free. Here the soich is holding it and he's paying. Okay, anyway. He reverses it. Honi Abba Hava says the Gemara, are these four different shaymim? Shleish Hava. There are three categories of payments. There's not four. I mean, I'm not going to be Yitzchak. Abba shaymim. The name Shleisha. You're right. There are four categories of shaymim. But in Din, it's found no dry. Either the seich is going to be kishem esacha or it's going to be kishem echinam. But it's only three. If he said to the Shem Echinam, where's my shirt? Okay. Says the Gemara, all these Shamim that the Mishnah said, Shepturim Mishvus Shamim, they're going to be pater from Shvuas Shamim, meaning from the Chemesh and the Asham of a Shvuas Apikadim that they lie. But B'chayav Mishum Shvuas Bitui. But they'll be high because of Shvuas Bitui. But saying a Shvuas, Shmuel says he'll be pat even from a Shvuas Bitui. What are they arguing about? Why does Shmuel say that he's pat even from Shvuas Bitui? Because Shmuel Saba lays above.
What did he say?
He said that it died naturally, and really it was killed by another animal. It's Shvuas Bitui. So he says that's lazy. Shmuel says he's not chayv mishum shvuas bitui, because bitui, any shvur by bitui has to work in the past and in the future, and here it doesn't work for the future. The future, what are you going to say? Yamus Hasher, the Hasher is going to die, or the Hasher is not going to die in the future. For the past you can talk about, for the future you can. And it says lahara ilahitiv. He learns it has to work. Any shvuas bitui, in order to be chayiv for it, has to be able to be used in the past and in the future. So Rav Saba, Rav says no, that's not what lahara ilahitiv tells us. Rav Saba he said the yizayivan shvuas bitui, because what does lahara ilahitiv mean? Belav vehein. It has to be that yamus. That it mays or loy mays. Okay, achalti or loy achalti. But not that it has to work for the past and the future. It has to be yes and no. And here could be work coming yes and no. Therefore, Rav says he'll be over for Shvuas Bitui. In fact, one of our ifliku b'chadas. This machlekes we already learned before. What do you come to teach us? Ditma, what do we see? Shvuas shazarik playing the yam. What is a Shvuas Bitui? He says a shvur that person threw a pebble into the yam, or shvur shaloi zarik. He makes a shvur he didn't throw it into the yam. Rav Amachayev, Shmuel Amapater. Rav says he's chayiv. Because you have yes and no, lahara lahitiv. Shmuel says you don't have the future. The future's an avias. Rabba Machayev the Ismail Abahin. And Shmuel Amapater the Leismail Abba. You don't have for the future saying he's gonna throw. What's Oxan avias? He's gonna throw. He's not gonna throw. So what do I need a case over here by Shmir Shemer to tell us the same machlekes? So if I would only say the machlekes by the case of Shazarik playing the Yam, I say here Rav says he's going to be over Mishum Shvuas Bitui because he made the shua on his own volition. But here by a shema, Shvuas Shema, he's not swearing on his own volition. It's Bezdin. The Veididim Ashbeilei, and we have a pasuk. It says in the pasuk. The Gemara will say it has to be Mayatzvai. So I would have thought, Bezdin does it. He's making him swear. No, he's not going to be over. He'll be Meidel Leila Shmuel. He's not going to be over on Shvuas Bitui. Kid Rabbi Yami. Tell me Rabbi Yami. Kol Shvuas Shad Dayanim Mashbin Neisa. Any shvur that the Dayanim make him swear, ain't Chayam Elav Mishum Shvuas Bitui. He's not going to be Chayav Mishum Shvuas Bitui. Right. And if we learn the machlekes of Rav and Shmuel only in the cases of our Mishnah by Shomer, right? Where Bezdin makes him swear, I'll say, but how come Shmuel? Only here Shmuel says he's going to be potter because Bezdin made him swear. Ava Bahach, but in the case of Zorak Tzrei Yam, maybe even made the maybe if I wouldn't say the Braisa, I would say he's made it to Rav that you are chayiv. That's why I need both cases. I have to leave these couple of words for the end, for the scene. Okay.
We'll see him again.
We'll see him. I'm going to try to make us see him.
We'll see